It legitimately felt like I was watching Pineapple Express take place in the DCEU. Not necessarily, just the tone.
Oh my god,
the tone.
That's perfect.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tardy to the Party, aka T3P, where us two hooligans talk shop about the holy trinity: pop culture, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. I'm your boy Jsib, joined by, as always,
I'm KP here.
All right, it is time. New week, reaching back to the DCEU Chapter 8. We are now on... get ready. Hopefully I don't run out of wind here. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn, or as we simply like to call it, Birds of Prey, because that's what it should have been.
Yes.
But, directed by Kathy Yan, writers Christina Hodgson, who also did The Flash, Paul Dini, and Bruce Timm. When I looked at those were the two when I looked on this, I was like, from Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond? Like, what?
I did not notice that. All right.
So, surprised I never knew that even when this was coming out, that I'd never heard that these two were involved with this project. So, crazy. But starring Margot Robbie, of course, Rosie Perez, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, James Smollett, and, of course, our boy, Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor. Of course, playing as Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask. So, I guess I don't know how long spoiler section will be, but I guess we'll start off in well, no, we don't do this for this. This movie's been out. Fuck it. Spoilers from the beginning. Don't know what I was thinking. We just got done doing Batch, so I'm like thinking we need to do... Nah, fuck it. Anyway, straight to the spoilers, straight to the fun goodness. KP, Birds of Prey. What's your thoughts? Coming back and rewatching it.
Just kind of... What a goofy ass movie. Like, it just... I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it. I won't shit on this movie. I'm not going to sit here and say it's bad. I don't think it's bad, but it's just like... To me, I'm like, this is a movie that exists. And it's funny at times, and I laugh, but I ain't telling people to go out and get out of their way. Like, oh, you gotta watch this. Like, I don't know. Like, it just, like... You brought up, like, I see Ewan McGregor, and I'm always going to think Obi-Wan Kenobi. Unfortunately for him, and I know he's done a ton of other shit, but, like, that's just who I'm always going to see. And when he goes from that character to a nut job wacko Roman Sionis in this movie, I'm like, yeah, I don't like this, like, at all.
Come on!
And, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know. Even watching it, I'm sitting there like, did he and his wife just sit there at home and were like, okay, well, should we do this movie? Why not just go make some money? And they're probably both like, yeah, well, why not go make some money? So, like, so we, yeah, word vomit. I don't know what to actually say about this movie other than, like, it's entertaining. It's not horrible, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's great. It's just very entertaining. And if you want something to Friday night, you live in the shit-ass Midwest like we do, it's cold, we're just like, what's a dumb movie to just kill 2 hours with? This is, like, I don't really know exactly what to tell you about this movie, other than it is okay to a T. Jsib.
Yeah, I agree.
The floor is yours.
It's very okay. It's very okay. It's a very comic booky movie, which is kind of fun. It embraces kind of a lot of those seasons. But yeah, overall, there's not a lot to take from this movie. I feel like at times it's very messy.
I feel like this movie, if I may just real quick, I gotta interject here. You always like to say how you never really wanted the Marvel MCU type of movie in the DCEU, and I feel like that's what this is. Like this is just like forced, but it's forced. Like Shazam, it was natural, but this movie is like I just feel like it was forced to be a comedy, if you will. Or like there's just a lot of comedic relief. I don't know.
This is not going to make any sense.
Oh,
Maybe it will.
Yeah, here we go.
When I say
Here we go.
I was watching this last night, and I don't know if it's because Maria Perez is in this, and she's also in this movie I'm about to reference. It legitimately felt like I was watching Pineapple Express take place in the DCEU. Not necessarily, just the tone.
Oh my god,
the tone.
That's perfect. Sorry, oh man, sorry.
No, I like
very loud laughter. That is perfect. That is exactly what this is. Oh my god.
I don't know
Sorry,
why.
God, sorry,
I was just sitting there and I was like, what does this movie like tonally remind me of? It's not like the story itself is Pineapple Express, but I was just sitting there and I was just like, this tonally just feels like Pineapple Express to me. Like, I don't know what it is about this movie or just the comedy in it per se. And
like
don't get me wrong, it's not as good as Pineapple Express. But yeah, that's the thing where it's like, I will kind of disagree with... I see what you're saying as far as the Marvel... If you're talking forced humor, yes. But I don't think the humor is like Marvel. Because there are, of course... I think the best scene in the movie is when Ewan's got those two people with Zaz tied upside down, that family, and he cuts the mom and dad's face off, and then he goes and is going to, like, spare the little girl. And then as soon as he sees a snot bubble in her nose, he's like, ugh, gross, cut it off. Yeah. It's just like, it's so awesome. Like, Ewan McGregor did awesome in this role. Like, I think him and Margot Robbie carried this movie.
I was going to say, he is very entertaining in the movie. It's just like, it's so unnatural for me. Because I'm like, no, he's Obi-Wan. No. And, yeah. But he does. I will say that you're right. He does do a very good job in this movie.
It's more just everybody else around them, where I feel like
no one kills my men unless I tell them to. Why don't I own this crossbow? He's like that. That was the thing about him that I do love too. Is like he's an adult child in this movie. Because they bring it up all the time about how, like, he's basically this disgraced son of a Fortune 500 family from Gotham, and he's, like, basically, he kind of embraces the whole, like, I'm a spoiled brat that's, like, in his 40s, and, like, he does a very good job of it, so you're right. I'll say that.
I just feel like, other than him and Margot, I feel like the rest of the cast... very kind of lackluster and doesn't really get a lot of chance to shine. Like, I think Cassandra Cain's kind of like they make her kind of annoying. They ruin Huntress in my eyes in this movie. Like, I like Huntress a lot. They make her a fucking joke in this almost.
They do. And they really do. Huntress is supposed to be a hard ass that's very, like, scorned over the fact that, like, they did her origin right. Like, yeah, family's killed by the mob from being in the mob and all that. Like, but yeah, it's just like, that's a character that you would think you would be, like, stern and serious and be very dark. And like you said, they turn her into a joke.
Like, they made her that way, but they made it into the butt end of everybody's joke. And it's just, okay.
Right.
I guess.
Like the whole movie too. Like they made her the butt of the joke.
It's like, it would have been one thing if it was like the first introduction when it cuts to everybody. It's like the crossbow killer, and she's like, I'm the Huntress. It's like, if they would have played that first one off for laughs, it's like, okay. But then it just kind of kept fucking going. It was like, all right, I'm fucking out at this point. Black Canary was okay. I like the actress who plays her. I think from what little we got of her, she was cool, but I think for me, there wasn't enough, and that's kind of the problem with Black Canary, which is odd because she's kind of the second protagonist in a way behind Margot in the second storyline thread, and it's still right.
No, you're right. It felt like they wanted to set her up as like she's the second protagonist, and the reason I feel like we don't get the justice for Black Canary in this is because like it's at the very end of the movie when she uses her metahuman power. It's
Yep.
like, come on. Like they tease it in the club scene and she shatters a glass, I think, and it's like,
Yep.
okay, like all right, cool. Like so she definitely knows like this is an established canary. Like we don't have to worry about oh, I've always had this weird blah 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 origin crap. Like that's we don't need that, and we don't need it. But again, we only see the canary cry at the very end, and it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, and I agree because so they
I
do
just
set
kind
it
of
up in
wanted
the
more of
beginning,
it.
but at when by the time it finally does show up in the very end, it feels like ex machina, like Deus ex machina type shit. Even though they did set it up earlier, it still feels like it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, oh yeah,
Well,
that's
and
right.
I will say too, with watching this movie, even at the end, like when they go to they go to the fun house where the Joker stashed all his shit, like Harley's trying to gear him all up and stuff. I mean, at that point of the movie, I'm just kind of sitting here like, can this just get over with too? And that's like why also it's like the canary cry is like it's just not even as entertaining because I'm like I've kind of been sitting here like I'm like, okay, like can we kind of wrap this shit up? I mean, this movie's just been going and it's like yeah, there's action, but there's really not actually that much action. Like,
There's
I mean,
not, but I will say to the credit of the movie, I think the fight choreography that we do get to see is pretty cool, unique. I like a lot of the sets and how they used the sets in the fight choreography, especially with like when they are in that's actually the fight I like is when they're actually at the circus. I don't know why the name is. I was so excited
can't remember.
when they actually name dropped it. I was like, holy shit, they name dropped it. Forgot about that. But like how she gets on her rollerblades and is going around, and he's like the thing with all the hands on it that were bouncing back and forth, and people are flying off them. They're using them to smack people. Like whoever did the fight choreography, I think should get kudos because I think the fights were done
Mm-hmm.
very well, especially in the cool settings they were in. I kind of agree with you though. Maybe just not enough, or just wasn't in the right beats of the story to make them feel more impactful. Like this movie is just such a weird movie. Like I don't know. Like also I have a fucking gripe. I fucking remember. I got fucking flashbacks and PTSD when I fucking got this off and started it, and it starts with her like animation origin story, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot this was kind of cute. And then the Joker shows up in the animation. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is where I got pissed off in the movie theaters because not only did they completely change his look, which is fine. You can argue they went with the classic animated look. We don't got to do the Jared Leto per se, but then they show Harley from scenes from Suicide Squad, and then the back of Leto's Joker head. I'm just like, you couldn't just show him, like, just show his face once. Like, you guys were so against the Jared Leto Joker that you couldn't even just show us our boy again, just for once, one little glimpse in the
My
beginning.
boy.
Like, I get this is all about Harley not needing Joker or no man and everything, but like, it just reminded me of how fucking petty the studio was back then, and I was just like, yeah, this is about the time where I fall off this universe.
Right. Right. Oh yeah, this movie started it. Oh yeah, I remember now. It's where I gave up all hope. Oh god, I will say or sorry, were you I don't know. I been interjecting quite a bit during your discussion about the movie, so like is that a lot of what you had or
Yeah, no, that was all I wanted to say. I was just it reminded me of
yeah.
how I was pissed off that they
I will say
referenced the
this too.
Joker but didn't actually show us the Joker that was.
I will say that yeah, I wasn't really happy with how they did Huntress. Will say though, I did love how she's set up as like total badass, blah blah blah, but there's just this one part of her that she can't get right. And it like shows her like practicing her badass one-liners in the mirror. And then there's the whole joke about how like she kills people before she says anything to them, like so they like, you know. And I love at the when they're in said circus funhouse tower whatever. I love she's like, I'm not the crossbow killer. And she's like, and does like the stance. And then Cassandra immediately just goes, you're Helena Bertinelli. And she goes, what the fuck? Dude, I've even rewatching it. And I think every time I watch this movie, I will always lose my shit at that part because it's just such a payoff for that joke. And I don't know why. It just gets me.
You know
I just
what?
love it out because she just kind of sits there and she just goes, "What the fuck?" Like she gets so fucking mad, and it's so funny.
You are right. I did laugh really hard at that one last last night rewatching it. That there is a good payoff.
But again, she's always the butt. She's always the butt of the joke, and then even too by the end of the movie, she's like awkward and like she laughs about how they steal the car and like she's just like and she's like laughing her ass off and then she just kind of they look at her and she's like oh sorry like you know like she's like she's kind of awkward and I don't know. So I will say that about the movie, but as far as not showing Joker, yeah, it's a little odd that they wouldn't show him. Like now that you point that out, it's like that was kind of always goofy.
I think that's the thing that really hurt this universe at a lot of times, especially in this point. It's like it never felt like an actual cohesive universe. Like it just didn't. Like, why is Joker not in this? Like in Suicide Squad, Batman pops up, and even in the butchered theatrical version when he shows up, it's like that made it feel like a world. Like it made it feel connected to everything else, and it started to feel that way. Oddly enough, towards the end, and would have kept doing it. I mean, even with the beginning of the Flash, you know, you have Wonder Woman popping up in every goddamn to show up randomly to finish her contract out. You know, we had Batfleck that was supposed to show up in Aquaman 2, which got gutted. You know, it seemed like they finally understood. It's like, oh yeah, we really do have to have these characters cross over, even if it's just for a scene or something like that. It has to make sense. Like you don't force them in there, but like, there were so many times where it would have been obvious for this character to show up and be here because of where they are and who this other character is, and they're just not there at all, and it's just so weird. Like even in this, it's like I don't know. It was in a weird point. Batfleck wasn't contracted or anything, but it's just like the only real reference to Batman really in this is that the hyena is called Bruce. Like I don't know. It just feels odd. I don't know. KP, what's your rating? Yeah, unless you have anything else.
Really have anything else? I gotta really say, like to me, this movie is kind of just like a 6 out of 10. I mean, I don't. Again, that's kind of like I'm not gonna shit on the movie rating, but I'm also not gonna sit here and tell you, oh yeah, go watch it. Like that's kind of 6.5. I'm gonna land on a 6 out of 10 for this. Because it is funny, and like I said, I mean, I just literally got done saying about how like this one payoff of this joke makes me laugh my ass off every time I watch it. But you know, there's just a lot of this, like you said, the lack of cameos to make it feel connected to the bigger universe, and yeah. So I gotta. What's your rating, man? What's your rating?
I'm right there with you, man. 6 out of 10. It's the pinnacle.
Okay, cool.
It's the very, very pinnacle of okay. Yeah, there's nothing super offensive about it, but there's nothing super like great or amazing that really makes me want to come back and watch it again. I mean, honestly, if anything, the reason I want to come back is just to watch Sal make that fucking bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. It look fire.
Dude, it look good.
I don't care if that American cheese is 6 months expired or not. Shit look good.
It look good.
Any fucking butters, the fucking muffin too, the English muffin part thing. Oh fuck. Yeah. Sal's got it going on, man.
Yeah, he knew how to make it. He knew how to make it.
But I believe with I think we have 2 more movies I think left on we have Wonder Woman 1984, and
Mm-hmm.
which is next. And then we round everything off, which is kind of fitting, actually, that it works out this way. With James Gunn's The Suicide Squad to lead us into see forward. For those wondering,
They've started filming. They've started filming.
Yeah, true. Production has begun. Then for those wondering, oh, what about Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Beetle,
Well,
The Flash,
we did those
Aquaman.
already.
We've already done those. They're up on the channel. And we've all done those within the past. I think when I last checked, like last year and a half, maybe 2 years max. So we felt we really just wanted to go back and kind of just complete the library of review. So 2 stops left, and that's on to. So
Hell yes.
we also got a request to do Watchmen at some point. So I can't promise necessarily when that'll necessarily happen. But I know KP had talked about it previously of wanting to do Watchmen. Obviously,
I own the director's cut version of it, so like it's just whenever you want to get to it.
And so obviously me being kind of the Snyder fan of the group, this is the one movie that he put out that I wasn't a huge fan of, but I was also pretty young at the time, so maybe I just wasn't sure enough. But so we'll add that to the docket in the queue. No promises when it'll come out, but we'll definitely get to it because I think that would be a lot of fun to do. Go back and revisit because it has legitimately been since it came out, since I watched it, so it'll be interesting.
I think it came out in like 2008 or 2009, so I mean it's
sounds right.
It's an older movie. So
I guess I was in high school.
So yeah, you would have been in high school, but again, that would make sense with what you're saying. Is maybe you were just too young and adolescent at the time to enjoy it. So,
but until then, also look forward to Avatar: The Last Airbender. We will be recording that later this week, so look for that at some point as well to drop. So anyway, KP, where can the people find you?
All right, I'm getting it right this time. You can find me at the link below.
And you can find me at Twitch, Instagram, if you convince me to come back, and Twitter, aka X gonna give it to you, at your boy Jsib. Appreciate you all for tuning in. So until next time, I'm your boy Jsib.
And I'm KP.
See ya later.